Cosa ha rappresentato per lei Maria? Che cosa le ha lasciato questo personaggio e che carattere aveva? Perché credo che, almeno da quello che ho letto sul Facebook, la storia non è che lei la conoscesse molto. Poi approfitto perché non so se poi potrò fare un'altra domanda. E lei vive, cioè, durante l'estate, insomma, passa del tempo nella nostra bella Puglia. È vero che ha 400 piante di melograno? È vero che ci fa? Grazie.
Sono 3 domande.
Well, there are two questions. For my life as a contadina salentina, which is very, very important to me. Yes, we have 400 melograno trees, and we hope in the future to make a sugo di melograno, and which we hope that we will sell in Italy and other places. But it's early days for this particular process, but that's what we're aiming towards. Melograno is very, very good for the health. It grows naturally in Salento. It's a very good environment for it. And they're very beautiful plants. So it's a lovely thing to do. It's something that I love. And I love that part of Italy. I feel very at home there. I love the people, I love the culture. And it's where I want to spend a lot of my life. For Maria Altman, I think as a child who grew up in Europe after the Second World War, obviously that part of European history formed me in many ways, although I didn't experience it myself. I was always very curious, talking to my parents, what was it like to have bombs falling? You know, they lived in London during the Blitz. What was that like? How was it? So I think in a way, doing this film, you know, took me back into my parents' generation. Not their personal story, obviously, but stories of other people who were living at that time. Such a terrible, dark time. It's incomprehensible now to think that people could do that to other people, and yet we see with the Syrian refugees and with Rwanda, with Serbo-Croatia, that in fact people are capable of doing this endlessly. For me, partly why it's so important to make a film like Woman in Gold and for people to see it is to remind ourselves of the realities of what that kind of behavior brings about.
Buongiorno, volevo chiedere alla signora se vivere questo personaggio e questa storia l'ha portata a ricordare un po' la storia della sua famiglia, perché anche, credo fosse suo nonno, se ricordo bene, suo nonno a un certo punto dovette abbandonare la Russia proprio perché si trovò all'estero, per fortuna sua, mentre in Russia scoppiava la rivoluzione d'ottobre. Quindi anche la sua famiglia, Mirenov, qualcosa del genere, ha vissuto questo distacco dalle radici. Non so se raccontando adesso questa storia ha così ripensato a quella della sua famiglia, a quello che forse è rimasto della sua famiglia in quella terra. Questa è una cosa. Poi un'altra cosa che le volevo... Sì, allora soltanto anche una regista. Nel film noi vediamo sempre una copia del quadro. Non è stato possibile riprendere mai l'originale? Grazie.
You go first.
Well, you're right, it is a replica of the famous painting, but we couldn't use the original because it's in New York behind glass, and obviously we needed to place it in various sets and also as a work in progress. So we had a very brilliant man in London who did a very brilliant replica of the famous painting. But I'm very proud to say that the Noy Gallery, where it is currently on display in New York, has had a massive surge in attendance since the movie. It's they're delighted that many, many more people than usual are going to see the painting in its permanent home in New York.
And for me, yes, I did think a little about not so much my grandfather as my great-grandmother and my great-aunts, who were made to leave their home, their house, their estates in Russia, and had to go and live in one room in a very small apartment, very small room where they shared with many different families. So their change in status was enormous, and which they survived with great courage. So I did think of them, but it was much more important to put Maria's real memories into my mind. So more than that, I read a lot of literature about the Holocaust. I read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is a great book I would advise anyone to read, about how something like this can take place. I wanted to put the visceral, real, absolute memories of Maria into my mind. So in every shot, in every scene, those memories have to be present in my mind. And that was by far the most important sort of work.
This film has resonated in America because, of course, it's about a Jewish family and the story of Jewish emigration and immigration, but I like to think it's more generally about all people who've had to emigrate and leave their families behind. And Helen's character Maria says at one point, people forget, especially the young. And I think that's the greatest theme of the film, which is that these terrible things happened in the last century, and it's really important that people remember that. And it's not just about the Germans or the Jewish people, it's a very bad idea to pick on anybody because of their race or religion or sex or whatever. And this century has the potential to be very troubled, and I think it's important that we remember some of those terrible things that happened not so long ago in the 20th century.
Posso soltanto darvi qualche numero. Allora, praticamente il film ha aperto in aprile in 258 copie. Mi raccontava Simon, può confermarmelo, che Cinema Score, che praticamente è una specie di exit poll che alla fine del film chi ha visto il film chiedono cosa ne hanno pensato, gli ha dato il voto massimo, che è A+. Questo ha convinto Harvey Weinstein la settimana dopo da 258 a passare a 1504 copie per arrivare a 2011 copie. Il film è rimasto in programmazione 19 settimane, che è una specie di record. Questo significa che è un film che ha fatto successo sul passaparola, cioè la gente chiedeva di vederlo, ed era una cosa secondo me straordinaria in un mondo in cui i film sono un po' usa e getta, dopo 2 weekend vanno a casa. A meno che il popolo, la gente non decida che il film invece vale, e chiaramente deve esserci poi un produttore, un distributore pronto a darglielo. Quindi diciamo questa storia, oltre ad essere emblematica di un certo momento storico e della lotta di una donna contro un'ingiustizia, è anche una bella storia a livello anche di una case history a livello di mercato, perché comunque ribadisco, oggi nel 2015 è molto difficile che un film possa fare quello che ha fatto questo straordinario film che Simon ha diretto.
E Simon vuole chiosare, aggiungere qualcosa?
Well, I would just say that it is a film about something in a time where a lot of films aren't about anything. But I was really lucky with the casting, because obviously I always wanted to direct Helen. It was a tremendous honour to direct Helen. And to pair her with Ryan Reynolds was a great opportunity. And the film has, I hope, wit and warmth, and Helen and Ryan's chemistry brought a great deal of that wit and warmth to the film. They'd never, I believe, ever even met before, but from the first day they just worked so well together, and they always brought something witty and entertaining to every scene they were in. So I, as a director, I was very, very grateful for that.